Pope Francis is dead. Yesterday was Easter, and today, Pope Francis is dead. Yesterday, Pope Francis shook J.D. Vance's hand, and today, Pope Francis is dead. This is insane. My grandma is going to be distraught in the morning. Okay? My family is from Trinidad. They are Catholic to the bone. Hello? Hello. There is bad news every day. It's becoming difficult. It's becoming difficult. And I know also in the morning I'm gonna wake up and I'm gonna scroll and I'm gonna see Aaron Parnas tell us about the Pope. And I hope that's the only bad news he has for us today.
This might piss off some of you Catholics, but as a recovering Catholic myself, I have to say it. Everyone who's like, oh my gosh, Pope Francis is dead. It's so sad. He was such an amazing human. No, he wasn't. He was the head of probably the most corrupt organization we've ever had. The organization, the Catholic Church, that is probably responsible for the molestation and sexual abuse of more boys than probably any other group. The organization that is not, if not the wealthiest, one of the most wealthiest in the world.
So in today's video, we'll be discussing about the recent announcement of this Pope Francis. For those of you guys that haven't heard, Pope Francis died at the age of 88 years old in his residence in Vatican City in Italy. It was said that he died on Monday on the 21st of April 2025, and his cause of his death was as a result of stroke followed by irreversible cardiac arrest. So since the death of Pope Francis, there have been a lot of conversation on this social media platform. Some people are basically calling him, holier than thou, while some people are still calling him out, saying that he wasn't a nice pope when he was still alive. So now different conversations now are sparked on social media. People saying that what will be the next move now that's going to take place, who will be the next pope. We see some different videos of this Pope Francis resurfacing on social media of how he was playing resist to a black priest, that he wouldn't want to shake him or embrace him the way he was embracing other priests. There's a video of him trending on social media of the way he reacted to a black priest without giving the black priest the same treatment he gave to other white priests. Yeah, people want to know what will happen when this Pope Francis die, who will be the next pope that will replace him. Some people are speculating that there was a revelation or a prophecy that took place which says that after the death of Pope Francis, the next thing will be judgment. So who knows about this economic war that is going on between China and America, the shortage of food that's going to take place very soon. I will play you guys several videos of people coming out to air their personal opinion about this Pope Francis, while some are having grievances. Some people are still coming out saying that he's not a very kind man, that he's a racist man. Him being the general overseer of the Catholic organization in the whole world. When he was alive, he was trying to pass a law where we blessing gay couples, that it is against the doctrine of the Catholic organization. Some people are still speculating that he was a corrupt pope, seeing him hand to hand with our president Donald Trump. So I will let you guys to watch different videos.
This might piss off some of you Catholics, but as a recovering Catholic myself, I have to say it. Everyone who's like, oh my gosh, Pope Francis is dead. It's so sad. He was such an amazing human. No, he wasn't. He was the head of probably the most corrupt organization we've ever had. The organization, the Catholic Church, that is probably responsible for the molestation and sexual abuse of more boys than probably any other group. The organization that is not, if not the wealthiest, one of the most wealthiest in the world. Doesn't pay taxes, claims to care about the poor, but is ridiculously rich. And Pope Francis did nothing that actually counted, meaning he still let people who were abusing children just move around to other churches, and like he knew it, and it still happened. I don't care how many times he called Gaza. He upheld the most corrupt institution, and if you think he's a great guy for that, wake up and see how harmful the Catholic Church is.
So by now you should have heard that the Pope has died on Easter Monday, no less. And we don't know what's crazier, the timing of all of this, or the fact that this happened just hours he had met J.D. Vance. And for many people, if this is not a subtle foreshadowing for the future of America, especially considering that Trump didn't even touch the Bible when he was swearing in this time round, I don't know what is. Now, what's especially upsetting to me with regards to the Pope's death is not just the fact that he died, but it's the fact that over the past year alone, he has spoken up against this administration, alongside promoting protecting marginalized communities, alongside being more charitable to the less fortunate. cough, cough immigrants. And sure, you could say that this is something that we would expect from the Pope anyway, but considering that we live in a time where institutions and people alike are getting prosecuted against for speaking up against Trump, so it was pretty refreshing to see that this was an institution that didn't. For example, Pope rebukes Trump administration over immigrant deportations and appears to aim directly at Vance. And since Trump has been re-elected, it's this international institution, this religiously led international institution, that I can say has spoken up vehemently against Trump within the last couple of weeks and months. Hell, correct me if I'm wrong, but I don't even think the previous popes had condemned Trump as much as Pope Francis did when he was last in power.
Pope Francis, why did you leave us? What did you see? And why didn't you tell us? Right here, I know that you saw something. I know that you felt something, and you said, absolutely not. I'm out of here. Jesus may have risen, but I will not. And you see right here, the man in the middle was actively trying to do an exorcism right at this moment. He saw whatever was in this racist Care Bear spirit leaped into Pope Francis and got him up out of here. That's what I believe. This is what is happening right now. And it was at this moment that he said, you know what? I know that this man is about to bust hell wide open, and he's trying to take the rest of us with him. And I'm not going. As a matter of fact, I'm going to tell Sky Daddy and JC that they going to have to deal with you. I can't do it, but I don't want to be here to find out what's happening.
In the last 24 hours, a slew of self-professed Christians, who are really only Christian in name, like Marjorie Taylor Greene, have taken to the internet to celebrate the death of Pope Francis, with Marjorie Taylor Greene specifically saying, "Evil is being defeated by the hand of God." But you know who is actually giving this man the respect that he deserves and is mourning his death en masse? Muslims. We may not believe in 100% of the same things, but the Muslims are mourning the loss of a great religious leader while you all reject his messaging. Going so far that even the likes of His Eminence Ayatollah Sistani is showing his respects for Pope Francis. The offices of Sistani had this to say: "With profound sorrow we have received the news of the passing of His Holy Pope Francis, the Pope of the Vatican, a revered spiritual figure held in high esteem by many people across the world, and respected universally for his distinguished role in advancing the cause of peace and tolerance, and for his solidarity with the oppressed and persecuted in various parts of the globe. As the supreme religious authority extends its heartfelt condolences and sympathy to the followers of the Catholic Church worldwide on this grievous loss, it prays for them patience and solace, and supplicates to Almighty God to bestow upon them and upon all humanity his boundless mercy, goodness, blessings, and peace." These are the words of the scary Muslims, while your Christian neighbors openly denounce the Pope. Pope Francis died today, and the last message he had for the world was advocating for Palestine. His last message before his death was stop the genocide and suffering in Gaza. Imagine the kind of person you have to be to, on your deathbed, instead of worrying about yourself, to be advocating for people who are not like you, who don't speak the same language as you, who maybe don't even believe the same things as you, but you know in your heart what is right, and you fight for those oppressed people anyway. He really was the true embodiment of Christianity, of the love and mercy of God. And this may have been the last time that he could advocate for Palestinians, but it was far from the only time. I mean, at the Vatican's annual nativity scene, he unveiled a figure of baby Jesus draped in a kufiya. How very fitting is it then that Pope Francis's last words were in defense of Palestinians, while millions of Christians around the world celebrated a holiday to commemorate the most famous Palestinian of them all. And there will be Christian Palestinians, Christian Arabs all over the world who will mourn this loss. If you are a Christian in America, it should not be any more clear that supporting a ceasefire in Gaza and ending the genocide of Palestinians, supporting that is the most Christian thing you can do right now.
Something is very sinister coming to this planet, because all of a sudden, which is breaking news, and this just happened. Pope Francis has died. Apparently, he rose on a Sunday, Easter, and he died on a Monday. And he died to a severe chronic lung disease. All of a sudden, he dies after Easter. You telling me the Pope Francis, he died after Easter. He rose up on Easter and died after Easter. He died Monday morning after Sunday. Something ain't right, yo. Not to mention Donald Trump claims himself to be a prophet sent from God now. I'm telling you, something sinister and evil is about to take place in this world, man. Y'all not understanding? I'm seeing right through. Something sinister and evil is about to take over. The fucking Pope has died at 88 years old. He arose on a Sunday and then died after Easter. This is giving all types of indications of rapture. I'm telling you, the Pope is dead. Pope Francis is dead.
So you're telling me that Pope Francis just left, okay? He's gonna go meet his maker. And this is after, big weekend, Easter weekend, way to hold on, way to do that. But the last 48 hours of his life, besides having the massive Easter ceremony that was going on, he got to meet J.D. Vance and basically let that man know that he is not living up to Christ's principles. The man, I guess, knew he was going to meet his maker very, very soon. And so he decided to tell the second in command to the most powerful person on the planet or whatever that, yeah, you need to be a better human being. Like, maybe understand some of Christ's teachings and care about, the most vulnerable in society and migrants. I don't know. It was just... Look, I'm not religious anymore, and I was raised Catholic, but I'm not religious anymore, but fucking legend, okay? Fucking legend. Rest in peace, man.
Ciao. Yeah. Okay. This is a day that I never thought I was going to have to see, mostly because I've been giving the Pope the substance. But the day has come, and I am very, very sad. See, the Pope has left us, and it is not J.D. Vance's fault. Mi dispiace, is he not the last one to see him? Hello? All I know, the last thing I did was give the Pope his Reese's eggs, okay? And then that little gremlin, he weaseled his way into the Vatican to have a conversation with the Pope. And the next thing you know, como se dice, lights out. No one should have to see a man in Guy Leitner on their last day on earth. Allora, what are we going to do? Listen to me. This is what you have to do. To honor the Pope, you have to be kind to your neighbor. And you have to, because this was most important to him. He loved the LGBTQ community, okay? You have to be a little guy. Chin up, because we're going to get through this, and we're going to do a conclave. Yeah? You love a conclave. The Poppy Our Lady, she still be around, okay? Ciao. Baci. Mwah.
Okay, if I can get out of character for a second, I am genuinely sad about the Pope. I am sad about this guy because he was our most progressive Pope. I have obviously loved playing this very silly character for the last year, but I think it is a profound loss. I'm a lapsed Catholic / agnostic / I don't really believe in organized religion, but he was a representation of the best of the church. Like, he actually believed in the values of the church where so many other people have lost their way. Republicans are not good Catholics. Like, he used his last breaths to call for the mercy for migrants, to renew his calls for a ceasefire. He met with and sat with prisoners. He called churches and refugee camps in Gaza almost daily to check on them as they were being bombed and to pray for them. He was a really magnanimous pope. As far as popes go, he was a good one.
So who will be the next pope? Here's a list of the top contenders. Will it be Cardinal Peter Erdo, the Metropolitan Archbishop of Budapest, Hungary, a conservative with stances against refugee acceptance and liberal interpretations of church doctrines? Up next is Cardinal Willem Ajik, Metropolitan Archbishop of the Netherlands, who is known for his strong conservative views, specifically on marriage. Up next, we have Cardinal Charles Bo, who is the Archbishop in Yangon, Myanmar. Or will it be Cardinal Angelo Bagnasco, Archbishop Emeritus of Genoa, Italy? Keeping it in the Italian family, we have Cardinal Matteo Zuppi, Archbishop of Bologna, Italy, who is a moderate and left-leaning liberal. Up next, we have Cardinal Pierbattista Pizzaballa. He is the Latin Patriarch of Jerusalem. Or will it be the Archbishop from France, Jean-Marc Aveline? Another favorite for the position is Cardinal Robert Serra. He is the Prefect Emeritus of the Congregation for Divine Worship and the Discipline of the Sacraments. Cardinal Louis Tagle is also in the run. He is the Pro-Prefect for the Dicastery of Evangelization. He is politically left-leaning and an advocate for LGBT+ rights. We also have the Vatican Secretary of State, Cardinal Pietro Parolin. Politically, he is considered moderate, but is against surrogacy and gender ideologies. Last but not least, we have Cardinal Anders Arborelius. He is the Bishop of Stockholm, Sweden. He's also in the running for the next conclave. Now, who do you think will be chosen as the next pope?
No one realized that Pope Francis' death on Easter was no accident. The last will he left before his death revealed some chilling information. On April 20th, Pope Francis delivered the Easter blessings to the world at St. Peter's Basilica. Surprisingly, less than a day after Francis' high-profile appearance, the Vatican announced his passing. People were reluctant to accept this tragic outcome and even suspected that it was not an accident. The will left by Francis before his death uncovered the truth. In fact, Francis had been treated in the hospital for pneumonia for several weeks. When his organs were still in a state of failure, his medical team claimed that his condition had stabilized and he could be discharged. However, Easter became Francis' last public appearance. In fact, his eyes were almost closing when he was speaking, but he had to endure it for this important festival. Perhaps Francis had already passed away on Easter Day, but the church dared not announce the news on that day, so it was announced the next day. The Pope's death has sparked intense discussions. People are speculating whether he had chosen the next successor in his will to help deal with the policies that he hadn't completed during his lifetime. Who do you think will be the next Pope?
So the Pope died on Easter Monday. There was a saint in the 12th century who said this would be the last Pope. Yeah. He said exactly how many popes there was going to be, and Pope Francis is supposed to be the last before Armageddon. In a book called Prophecy of Popes in 1139, St. Malachi, during his trip to Rome, claimed to receive a vision of the future, including the name of every pope from that moment until the end of days. He shared details of 109 future popes and said in the final persecution of the Holy Roman Church there will be reigning Peter the Roman, who will feed his flock amid many tribulations, after which the seven-hilled city will be destroyed and the dreadful judge will judge the people. The end. And apparently his prophecies have come true on a lot of these popes. The first pope on the list would be from a castle on the Tiber, and he was actually born in Tuscany on the shores of Tiber River. Predicted another pope would be elevated from a hermit, and Nicholas IV, pope from 1288 to 1292, was a hermit in the monastery. They said the 45th pope in the prophecy is described as coming from the hell of Prignani, and he actually was born in Domenico Prignano. St. Malachi said that the last pope before this one that just died, Pope John Paul II, and remember, this is in the 1100s that he predicted this, he said that Pope John Paul II would be of the eclipse of the sun. John Paul II was born on May 18th, 1920, during a solar eclipse. His funeral was also during a solar eclipse that was visible from the States. So this is just one prophecy of one dude, right? I mean, it couldn't mean... he was in the medieval times. He didn't know anything.
Pope Francis has been pronounced dead, tragically passing away this morning, shocking the world as Easter, one of the most religious days of the year, was his last day on earth. But do you remember the prophecy of popes that said Pope Francis would be the final pope before the end of the world? We need to discuss that. The Vatican heartbreakingly confirmed his death, saying he died at 7:30 this morning after his lifelong struggle with double pneumonia. He was in and out of the hospital all year and actually had a part of his lung removed when he was younger. He was the 266th pope and maybe the last ever. He had a refreshing take on LGBTQ advocacy. He actually cared about climate change and wanted to protect the earth. And he had so much compassion for all humans. And it's actually crazy because he addressed literally the whole world just hours before his death, giving his blessing on Easter. But it's more insane that one of the last people to ever see him alive was J.D. Vance. They were supposed to have an even longer meeting, but it was cut short because of his condition. But in the months leading up to his death, he was scrutinizing the Trump administration for their stance on immigration deportation policies. I mean, and how can we forget the iconic video of him swatting away Donald Trump's hand and putting him in his place and then walking away? But we should all be scared, because in a terrifying prophecy, literally titled The Prophecy of the Popes, written by Saint Malachy in 1959, so this is like 5 centuries old, they listed each name and description of every single pope ever, with the final one written down being Pope Francis, and prophesied that he would be the strong leader who would get us through dark and tumultuous times where other horrible leaders in the world were trying to take the world down with them, and that he would get us through. But right after he met his end, we would all meet our end, and it would lead to the destruction of Rome and the onbringing of the final judgment. There's literally so many books written about this, and since we are in this world where terrible leaders are being elected and just destroying everything, I wouldn't be surprised if this came true. So good luck, everyone.
Yeah.
We bereaved.
Who gone?
The Pope.
Oh! Francis! Francis! Oh, I just seen them just Francis!
Wow, please.
Ooh, the Pope. The Pope. You know, he didn't look good yesterday. He couldn't even bless the people up high. He had to bless them down low. So he knew his time was about up.
Ma.
He got himself blessed. He said, I'm out.
Ma, he blessed.
Oh! He blessed himself.
You know who came to visit him the day before?
Who?
Vice President of the United States.
Oh, now that was a bad move right there.
Period. Because you know what he did to that trophy?
Yeah, okay.
You think they're going to call you the same?
Huh?
You think they're going to call you the same?
I told them.
Oh, they already reached out.
Yeah.
Wow, what you tell her?
I said, I can't sing for Francis.
What?
Fran.
Ooh! Who is he?
Fran.
Ooh, you've been knowing him a long time.
Oh, down through the years. Woo! I only tell him that in private. I can't, that's a private thing between us. But I know that when he didn't raise his hand, that hand didn't come up high to bless
How he raised it?
He went, I said, Pope. Fran, that is not blessing the people. He blessed himself right on out of here. That's all that was. I'm blessed and I'm out.
Ma.
Yeah.
We bereaved.
Who gone?
Anything that you have to say in this particular video, please don't forget to leave it under the comment section below. If you never subscribe, please do try to subscribe. Until I see you in my next video.